Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. It was a big weekend. I hope you got your fire extinguisher because we're all going to have to fly to L.A. and put out the abomination that keeps smoldering there. Jimmy Failla is here to discuss everything since last we talked.
Oh, man, oh, boy. You know what's funny? We're only a few podcasts removed from me donating money to put out the fires in California. And now they're...
Just by pissing all over the place. I think it's really just fill up your bladder with Schlitz malt liquor and just piss all over it.
Nothing but the best. What a dumb time to be alive, man. And, Newsom, I was saying this earlier, he's trying to be the face of this. Mm-hmm. This is what he thinks is a political rebirth for him. Everybody's mad at Trump, but what he's not getting, and this is fascinating to me, is the polling is actually with Trump.
Yeah.
On deportations. And this idea that, he thinks he's going to become a hero to the locals who are getting their businesses burned down. No, you actually like the National Guard.
And also, there are a lot of people who, 33 years ago lived through the riots. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people whose businesses never rebounded and they had to move to different parts of the state and pull their kids out of school and do whatever they could to relocate.
And you're saying this as someone who cheered on the cops when they beat Rodney King. I'll never forget it. I mean, your support of was so overwhelming.
I was not cheering them on.
She wasn't. We're being
Stacey
silly.
Koon.
Come on.
I'll never forget Stacey Koon.
Oh, those dirtbags.
Yeah, they were dirtbags. And, L.A. was in very rough shape before the Rodney King beating and after the riots. And in a way, it was a reset because so much steam had built up. This is not that.
No.
And this is not the OJ verdict.
Nope.
And Gavin Newsom is not on the right side
not even
of
close.
A cultural issue where people there look around. And I'll tell you why Southern California is different than most states in the union. Everyone has friends and nannies and neighbors who are probably either in the country illegally or bought by their parents and work their asses off and make the economy what it is in spite of the government.
Yep.
And, there are, you can say whatever you want about illegal immigration. It works differently in Southern California. Mm-hmm. Having said that, when they talk about immigrants commit fewer laws, they're talking about people in places like Southern California who work hard, put their kids through school, and try and have a good life. All of those people, doesn't matter if you were born there, you were brought there, you did whatever you could to escape whatever hellhole you were living in. Everyone hates the rapists and the murderers and the gang members and the goddamn dirtbags that destroy every good city. Yep. They hate them and they want them out. And these sanctuary cities, they don't protect the nannies and the students and the gardeners and the business owners. They protect the absolute abomination, the assholes, the anal cancer that is the people, the gangs and the child rapists and the murderers. Those are the people who are protected by sanctuary cities. Those are the people that Gavin Newsom is staking his political national fortunes on, and screw all of them. I'm sorry, but I'm sick of it. I'm pretty pro immigration. Yeah. And I wish we had more legal immigration. And California is a poster child for that. And you could take a way of letting people come and go into this country legally and work seasonally, whatever, and it would work better. But when you let everyone in and you let the worst of society in, and those are the guys waving the Mexican flags and the skull masks, burning everything down.
Amen. And I mean this. It's fascinating to me that politics went from a slogan like a chicken in every pot to a migrant gangbanger in every community. But that's what he's standing up for.
Yes.
Because those
are the people he's protecting
that are designated for deportation, they're not showing up and rounding up Little League teams and getting them out of there. Okay, that's half the Dodgers farm system. They can't afford to deport them. But the point is, what they're doing is they're trying to create an empathy for the bad guy. And that's what drives me crazy, because it really echoes 2020 in a lot of ways. They're getting out there and they're telling you all this civil unrest is justified because we're looking out for the people. But the people they purport to care about are the ones that are going to be harmed the most by this.
Of course. It's like South Los Angeles, which used to be South Central. Most of it never rebounded.
Ever.
From the riots. So you want another part of the city to burn?
This is another point that we don't come back to, and it drives me crazy. I talk about this a lot on the radio, is we watch these neighborhoods burn for 3 days, but when the news cameras leave, things don't suddenly get better. Just because it's not raining anymore doesn't mean, like the near north of Minneapolis that they burnt after George Floyd, those businesses aren't back.
No.
And when you get low...
It's really weird how it's impossible to get a loan.
Yeah.
when you don't have credit to begin with, and you've built your business from scratch, and then when it's burned to the ground, it's oddly difficult to get capital to rebuild it.
Yeah, and no one talks about this, but when legitimate business leaves a neighborhood, illegitimate business shows up, and that brings a higher rate of violence with it, and it's usually committed against members of the same community.
What a fun cycle to restart.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
This is why Southern California hates Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
He hates Southern California. He doesn't care because he's not running for governor again. He doesn't care about their votes. Like, I don't know who he's appealing to. Like, maybe it's Southern California progressives.
I think he's...
Like Judd Apatow in particular. Like, that's who he's appealing to.
I mentioned this earlier on Twitter. I think he's so desperate to become a president, he's now campaigning for the Mexican job. He just doesn't realize it. But don't you give me this though, for real, okay? Do you remember when like politicians used to pretend to care?
Yeah.
You know, like if you went and got a massage, the woman would go so big. You know, they'd pretend they even cared. They were invested.
Bill Clinton was so good at that.
Yes. I'll feel your pain and your breasts.
Like, God, I hate him, but I actually feel like if I sat in a room with him, he would listen to me.
Yeah, he would. That's the point. They could feign empathy.
Yeah.
But they're not even doing that now. And this idea that, like, well, you know, the president rolls in, you know, ICE or the National Guard and that agitates people. Like, we should not be catering to people who see the police as a prompt to get rowdy. When I see the police, I actually behave better.
Yeah.
We can't, like, reconfigure the compass in society to kind of cater to those people. Oh, the National Guard's here. I think I'll burn something then. Yeah. How are we better off because of that?
And why do you think that a riot in Los Angeles would somehow quell itself when you see what happens when the Lakers win?
Yeah, I know. That's funny. They burn the city. They burn the city when they win. No, it's all gross. It is, and I say this all the time, and you know this. We're living in the death of shame. Gavin Newsom is a sociopath, and Karen Bass is, I mean, weapons grade stupid.
You know, it's like I don't feel comfortable using the R word, but I do in private in my brain when I think about her.
Oh, with Karen Bass?
She is the goddamn devil, and they are both using this as a smokescreen to abdicate responsibility for the wildfires, which I will tell you, dealing with that every day is exhausting. I just want to go home, and I can't, and no one can. Yep. No one can go home because either their homes burned to the ground or what is left is so toxic and disgusting that they are letting the insurance companies bugger everybody, you know, with no responsibility. And they are denying claims, and it is so unbelievably immoral. And then they're trying to use this as a political shield. They can go themselves in the with that political shield that I invite them to roll up and anally insert. And
listen, I've seen her do it to people. She means it. Okay, these comedy games. I'm
so mad about
I'm
this.
With you.
Like, I was already like in the red. Like, it was so red, it was redder than Taylor Swift's lipstick. Oh. And now it's like, I don't know what's past it. I think the engine just like falls out at that point. It just seizes up and falls out. And it's like, I have so many friends who are like, I'm done. We're done. We're leaving. We're moving. I just talked to Dean Cain. He moved to Henderson, Nevada. Good friend of mine.
Yes, he did. That's
born
funny.
and raised in Los Angeles, musician, moving to Tennessee because people are absolutely sick of this nonsense. Yep. And they got it. California voters, you have a choice. Switch course. Vote for Steve Hilton. Vote for someone with sense. Get Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom out of there because they are a toxic poison.
Addition by subtraction, as we like to say. You get rid of them, your state has a chance.
Yeah.
No, for real. I hope Steve Hilton wins. I think what Steve Hilton should do is lean into the celebrity thing and tell people he's Phil Collins. I think there's enough people that'll be like, yeah, no, he should make his campaign song In the Air Tonight.
Yeah. And
I think he leans in. I think he wins.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stoned friends in LA that would vote for this guy.
Phil Collins is he's in poor health, and Steve Hilton is so vital that I think people would be relieved.
Yes, they'd be like, thank God he's doing better.
Yeah.
Because we've all heard those rough stories about Phil Collins and his wife, and they were fighting over a house.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect sale here. So Phil headed west. for a rebirth. He's running for governor.
I mean, he's got the accent.
I don't know. Again, another one. Hilton, if you're listening, and I know you are.
Hey,
if you're watching, I know you are.
I'm a rabid devourer of this podcast.
But if we can't, and I mean this, if you can't get a change in direction for a state after this, then it's like, that whole thing, like at some point you have to stop feeling bad for these people.
Yeah, it sucks.
But
it's your fault. It really is. It's your fault. And I don't say that now. I'm not like, well, everything burned down. You get what you vote for. That's not necessarily the case, because the California Republican Party sucks.
They're not good.
Weenus balls.
Yeah,
they're just awful.
Yeah.
And it's like the candidates they put up, I'm sorry, but it's like, who the hell would vote for those people? Because you're not appealing to Republicans. You're appealing to a massive majority of really frustrated, beaten down voters who would be happy to vote for someone who's not a brain dead psychopath.
And that's what you hope, is that for a moment we could just look beyond, because we've gotten into this really intellectually lazy thing where politics it's become more important to beat the other side, that team sport aspect of this, than it is to actually focus on some greater good. This would be the moment for them to break that cycle. And I hope to God they can, because I love California. You know that. We vacation there every year. We go hang out. The Faillas make the rounds, ruin everybody's beach photos because we show up. Everybody else is in shape.
I had tickets to Game 6 of the World Series.
Yep. She's the reason she jinxed the Yankees and they lost. You know what's funny?
I was packing.
I was
packing during the fifth inning.
Guys, the Yankees are down 3-1, but they're winning 5-1 in Game 5.
Yeah.
And Kennedy, and I'm getting texts from my brother Mike. He's like, we got to buy tickets to L.A. There's a fly ball to Judge. He drops it. There's a ground ball to first. Cole didn't cover. I don't know what's happening here. And they blew it all in the fifth inning. And all your tickets went up in smoke.
I shook Garrett Cole's hand after his Tommy John surgery, and I just went, just as it, no, I didn't.
I love that. Kennedy saves the world, but
Game
not the
5.
Yankees pitching staff. That's for you, Gavin. Go cover first. But I'm with you. And California, turn it around. We hope you turn it around.
It can still turn. It's not going to be easy now. It's a disaster. But, we're cheering for you.
Here we are.
While flipping you off. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. It's an uplifting one. Along with Jimmy Failla, I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with the Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app. Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.